There's a place in the United States called Furnace Creek. It's not a bustling city, nor your typical sleepy town. What makes it famous isn't luxury, culture, or some grand piece of history. Instead, it's known across the globe for one thing: heat. In fact, Furnace Creek holds the world record for the highest temperature ever reliably recorded on Earth, a scorching 134 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the kind of heat that makes even air conditioning feel useless. And yet, in this incredibly harsh environment, people actually live there. There are homes, jobs, and even a small but steady social life that manages to exist in the heart of Death Valley. It's a striking contradiction. On one hand, the area is often described as a living hell, but on the other, it's home to people who've chosen not to let the extreme climate chase them away. It makes you wonder, what's it really like to live in the hottest place on Earth? To begin answering that question, we need to look at the climate itself. Furnace Creek isn't just hot, it's relentlessly extreme. In the summer of 2024, the region experienced one of its most brutal heat waves in recorded history. The average temperature over a 24-hour period hit 104 degrees Fahrenheit, meaning it wasn't just hot during the day, it stayed hot around the clock. Afternoon highs regularly reached 118 to 123 degrees Fahrenheit, and for 9 consecutive days, temperatures soared past 125 degrees Fahrenheit. Even after sunset, the air stayed heavy and sweltering, with nighttime lows hanging around 91 degrees Fahrenheit. The geography of the area only intensifies the heat. Furnace Creek sits in a deep desert basin, more than 190 feet below sea level, surrounded by high mountain ranges. These natural walls act like a trap, locking in hot air and preventing it from escaping. During the day, the sun beats down on salt flats, rocky canyons, and sand dunes, all of which absorb and store heat. At night, the land releases that stored heat back into the air, turning the valley into a kind of natural oven. There's almost no break from it. Vegetation in Furnace Creek is minimal. Only a few patches of greenery survive around rare spring-fed oases. Outside of those small lifelines, the terrain is mostly barren, dry, cracked, and sun-baked, like something pulled straight from a sci-fi film set on another planet. Living here means adapting to a world that, for most people, would feel completely unlivable. But for the residents of Furnace Creek, it's simply home. As of 2025, Furnace Creek's official population is just 163 people. That's a big jump from only 24 residents in 2010, but it's still just a tiny handful of people living in one of the hottest places on Earth. What's even more interesting is the makeup of that small community. The majority are white, around 57%, followed by 22% Hispanic and about 19% Native American, specifically from the Timbisha Shoshone tribe. This indigenous community has lived in the harsh environment of Death Valley for generations, long before the region became known as a destination for extreme tourism. With so few people, nearly everyone knows each other. Social life revolves around a few key spots: the National Parks Visitor Center, Furnace Creek Ranch and Inn, and a couple of local cafes and restaurants. For the Timbisha Shoshone, the community is even tighter. They live in a small area known as Indian Village, where a few families reside in modest homes, and continue traditional ways of life. At the center of it all is the oasis at Death Valley, the area's main resort. It's more than just a tourist attraction. It's the economic heart of Furnace Creek. The oasis includes 2 hotels, a golf course, tennis courts, and even a swimming pool. Nearly every resident is connected to it in some way, either working there, providing services, or taking part in daily activities around it. So how do people survive in such extreme heat? The answer lies in small, daily adaptations. Heavy activity is pushed to the early morning or late evening, while the hottest hours of the day are spent indoors with strong air conditioning. Staying hydrated isn't just recommended, it's a constant, conscious routine, even before anyone feels thirsty. Loose-fitting clothes, light colors, wide-brimmed hats, and sunscreen are all standard parts of daily life. Because the population is small and the social bonds are strong, crime is virtually non-existent. There's no noise, no chaos, and none of the typical concerns of city life. In fact, many describe the town as peaceful and safe, like a quiet, self-contained world cut off from the outside. Even during the global pandemic, Furnace Creek felt somewhat shielded thanks to its natural isolation from densely populated areas. The buildings here are designed to endure the climate. Many homes rely on heavy-duty air conditioning or swamp coolers, a traditional water-based system for cooling the air. Some families even install sprinklers around their houses to create the illusion of cooler surroundings. Over time, long-term residents, both indigenous and non-native, develop a sort of physical resilience to the heat. Their bodies adapt, sweating more efficiently and maintaining stable temperatures. But even with this adaptation, the risk of dehydration, heat stroke, or heat exhaustion is always present. And that's where the tight-knit community plays a vital role, looking out for one another. There's one more thing that makes this community unique. It's partially seasonal. During the peak of summer, certain homes, facilities, and areas are closed or barely used. Many non-locals, like seasonal workers or visitors, leave Furnace Creek during the most intense heat, only to return when the weather becomes more manageable. In most communities, the economy runs on a mix of industries. But in Furnace Creek, the answer is simple. Tourism is the lifeblood of everything. Every year, Death Valley National Park draws over 1 million visitors, and the heart of that activity lies in one place: the oasis at Death Valley. Formerly known as the Furnace Creek Inn and Ranch Resort, this sprawling resort is the economic backbone of the area. It includes 2 hotels, restaurants, a golf course, tennis courts, and even a swimming pool. A real oasis in the middle of a harsh desert. Nearly all jobs in Furnace Creek revolve around this tourism hub. Some work in the hotels, from housekeeping to front desk roles. Others staff the restaurants and kitchens, serving food and drinks to guests. Then there are the tour guides, who lead visitors to iconic Death Valley locations like Zabriskie Point, Badwater Basin, or on hiking tours through the harsh desert trails. Even park rangers play a key role, maintaining facilities, offering information, and ensuring hiking routes are safe for the public. The local economy may be narrow in scope, but that's part of what makes Furnace Creek so unique. There's a small general store selling travel essentials and souvenirs, a gas station that's a literal lifeline for travelers, and even conservation efforts that create jobs, like implementing water and energy efficiency systems at the hotel and golf course. These aren't just businesses, they're survival strategies for living in one of the most extreme climates on Earth. But it all comes at a cost. Operating expenses are high due to constant air conditioning, electricity, and water usage, and the economy is highly seasonal. During winter and early spring, Furnace Creek comes alive. The resort fills up, tours are in full swing, and restaurants are bustling. But once summer hits, things change. Some facilities shut down, seasonal workers leave, and the town suddenly turns quiet, almost ghostly in its silence. Let's talk about the technical side, how people get to Furnace Creek, where the water and electricity come from, and just how limited the services really are. The main access point is California State Route 190, CA 190, which cuts across Death Valley and connects Furnace Creek to Death Valley Junction and US 395 to the west. There's also a small airstrip, Furnace Creek Airport, but this isn't a commercial airport. So if you need serious medical care or a commercial flight, you'll first need to travel to a larger city. Public transportation is practically non-existent. For anything beyond basic first aid, medical services are far away. The national park provides basic medical rooms at the visitor center and ranger stations, but for urgent care or emergencies, the closest options are cities like Pahrump, Nevada, which serves as the main referral point for emergency treatment. For fully equipped hospitals, you'd have to head to Ridgecrest or Las Vegas, a trip that can take several hours. The water supply is one of Furnace Creek's most critical lifelines. And it's no myth. Much of the water comes from natural springs, specifically gravity-fed springs that have been tapped to support the oasis at Death Valley, the nearby Timbisha Shoshone village, the visitor center, and local campgrounds. As for electricity and cooling, the main resort operator, Xanterra, has implemented efficiency programs for years. There are large solar panel PV installations and various energy-saving initiatives in place to reduce the massive electrical burden needed for air conditioning and facility operations. When it comes to general infrastructure and available services, Furnace Creek operates more like a self-sufficient outpost than a full-fledged town. There's a visitor center, a small souvenir shop/mini market, lodging options, and a limited postal or courier service. But you won't find a hospital or a full-scale school system. Most supplies are brought in, food, medicine, equipment, even seasonal workers, imported from the nearest towns and cities. In short, Furnace Creek survives through careful planning, creative logistics, and constant adaptation to its extreme isolation. Living in Furnace Creek has always been extreme, but with climate change, the challenges have only intensified. Just imagine, July 2024 was officially recorded as the hottest month in Furnace Creek's history, with an average 24-hour temperature of 108 degrees Fahrenheit. Daytime heat becomes nearly unbearable, while even at night the air stays warm as the desert ground releases stored energy from the sun. And while rainfall is rare, it brings its own dangers. Flash floods have shut down roads and damaged facilities, proving that the desert isn't just about heat, but also sudden, unpredictable forces of nature. And yet, despite it all, Furnace Creek remains an icon of desert extremes. In fact, it's the harshness itself that draws people in. Visitors come to feel the heat that borders on the unlivable, to gaze at some of the clearest night skies on Earth, or simply to say they've survived one of the most unforgiving places on the planet. To keep this unique appeal alive, park officials and resort operators continue to upgrade infrastructure, from more reliable clean water systems, shaded areas for visitors, to warning signs that urge people not to hike under the blazing midday sun. So what does the future hold for the residents? Undoubtedly, some will stay. The Timbisha Shoshone tribe, the park rangers, and the Oasis staff are already well adapted to the rhythms of desert life. But for many non-local workers, Furnace Creek is a seasonal experience. When the summer heat peaks, the community goes quiet, only to come alive again during cooler months. Looking ahead, Furnace Creek may evolve more into an extreme tourism destination than a place for permanent settlement. Still, there's something fascinating about this place. Furnace Creek may serve as a living laboratory for the future. It could show the world how humans adapt to rising temperatures through cooling technologies, water management strategies, and desert-friendly architecture. So, will Furnace Creek remain a home for a few, or become a monument to the extremes of tourism? The answer depends on how its people and its stewards choose to face a heat that's no longer just a challenge, but a daily reality.